Good evening, Yorktown. Welcome to the Town Board meeting for September 1st, 2020. I ask everyone to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if you could all please join me in a moment of silence as we pray for the victims of Hurricane Laura. We pray for the recovery of Jacob Blake. We pray and remember Chadwick Boseman. We pray for the Middletown police officer who was recently shot in the line of duty. And we pray for patience, compassion, and healing during these troubling times.
Yes.
Thank you. Again, my name is Matt Slater, Town Supervisor for the Town of Yorktown. We're joined by Councilwoman Alice Roker, joined by Councilman Ed Lachterman, Councilman Tom Diana. We have on the phone Councilman Vishnu Patel. I see we have our Town Clerk, Diana Quast. We have also with us our Highway Superintendent, Dave Paganelli, and our Chief of Police, Robert Noble. Chief, how are we doing tonight? Happy to provide a report from the town. Now that we're back from our brief summer recess, I want to really thank the residents and thank our highway department for their incredible response during Hurricane Isaias. It caused massive power outages that, as we all know, lasted for some longer than a week, including our highway superintendent himself. These intense storms are happening every year, and it's time our electrical and telecommunications infrastructure can withstand it. I've personally called on state regulators to hold Con Ed and NYSEG accountable. I testified on behalf of our community before both the state Senate and state assembly about the need for improved preparedness, improved response, and improved communication. Speaking of NYSEG, we also submitted a petition just yesterday with nearly 500 names opposing their proposed 22% rate hike.
You gotta be.
I mean, tone deaf. Tone deaf. 22% proposed rate hike over the next 3 years. We sent it straight to Albany to the Public Service Commission. And again, on behalf of our residents, again, we urge the Public Service Commission to reject this tone deaf proposal. But we did have many accomplishments to celebrate since our last meeting, especially SafeWise.com's designation of Yorktown as one of the top 100 safest communities in the country. Those of us who live and raise our families here already know Yorktown is a great place, a safe place, and this ranking just validates the hard work being done by our police department. And
Thank you, Chief.
I say that, and the chief's not even listening.
No, he's not listening. He doesn't care. I'm only kidding. He does care. That's the whole thing.
Absolutely. The New York State Parks and Recreation Society recognized the town of Yorktown and the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference for our public-private partnership and our joint work in maintaining and protecting nearly 50 miles of hiking trails in our community. I want to give a special thank you and acknowledgement to, of course, the dynamic duo of Walt and Jane Daniels, who have done a terrific job.
Yeah.
The Mohegan Ave retaining wall project was completed. It was completed ahead of schedule, which is great. It replaced 600 feet of retaining wall along the lake, and we are working with the Mohegan Lake Improvement District and our highway superintendent to install the first ever stormwater retrofits for Mohegan Lake. And I again want to thank our highway superintendent, Dave Paganelli, for overseeing that project. We have signed, and we did pass a resolution previously, and we have signed an agreement with Sustainable Westchester to bring more solar power options to residents and also explore solarizing some of Yorktown's own buildings. And we'll have more on that. I have a meeting next week with the folks from Sustainable Westchester as we continue down that path, and we're very excited about it. As a reminder, we also created 2 new task force, the Food Security Task Force for our food pantries to tackle food insecurity within our community. Also, our Arts and Culture Committee we also established, and we're looking for volunteers, interested parties in the community to serve. So feel free to send a resume and a cover letter I know. I got you. Councilwoman Roker. Send a resume and a cover letter if you're interested to mslater@yorktownny.org. Those are two fantastic causes.
They are.
Just wanted to remind everyone at home again, we have a new community calendar right on our new website. So for our organizations and individuals looking for safe things to do, please feel free to jump on to yorktownny.org, and you can add your own events, or also if you're looking for something to do, you can utilize the community calendar right at your fingertips. I also want to point out that this Saturday, speaking of fun things, safe and fun things to do, this Saturday, our friends at Wilkins Fruit Farm will be opening for their apple picking season. You can enjoy a COVID-safe experience over at Wilkins, either by picking your own apples. I'll be over there with my family. There's also the corn maze as well. So there are obviously, it's going to be a little bit different because of some of the COVID restrictions that they have to follow. And you can find out what those exactly are on their website. But the good news is those apple cider donuts are going to be ready for everybody. I know Chief likes those, right, Chief?
How'd you guess?
Not.
A few more updates. The Halleck's Mill sewer update. We are moving incrementally forward every step. It's a scrum without a doubt, but we are making progress. We are at the point where we're working now with the county on the right of objection letter, which is a very important piece of the puzzle here. We have, again, received multiple confirmation from DEP and the county planning department that we have a project that they support and are getting behind, which is great. And so we are now working on that right of objection letter, and our legal team is going to be working with the county attorney's office to finally draft the term sheet for us to obtain the East of Hudson's $10 million that were originally set aside for the town of Yorktown. So small steps, but positive ones in the right direction, which we're very happy about. As a reminder, we have 1 month left to participate in the census. This is a very important, every 10 years, critical for our community to make sure everyone's counted. We have a 77.5% response rate so far, which is pretty good, but we can do better. So you can go to my2020census.gov and you can participate in that process if you haven't yet done so. For the elections coming up in November, the County Board of Elections has announced early voting will take place Saturday, October 24th from noon till 5, Sunday, October 25th from noon till 5, Monday, October 26th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Tuesday, October 27th from noon until 8 p.m., Wednesday, the 28th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Thursday, the 29th from noon until 8 p.m., Friday, the 30th from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m., and both Saturday, the 31st and Sunday, the 1st are from noon to 5 p.m. The early voting station for the town of Yorktown is going to be the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center. And this is all going to be able to be found right on our website, as well as the county website. So as you're making your voting plans, you make sure you can use those early voting options.
Matt, when does registration end?
That's a great question. Let's see.
October 9th.
Thank you. October 9th. Thank you to our town clerk, Diana Quast. Lastly, on reopening, we're going to start to see some of our town facilities come back online and open to the public. We are working currently with our library to provide a COVID experience at our library. So we're going to be limiting capacity, similar to what they do with our gyms. We're also going to be having people take temperature checks and obviously answer some COVID screening questions before entering. Again, that's to protect the public as well as our staff. And the library will be announcing the date later this week. Same here at Town Hall. We will be announcing the procedure and date to allow for appointment only, for visits appointment only to our departments. Same concept. You're going to be taking a COVID screening questions as well as a temperature check before entering. And so we will be publicizing that date hopefully tomorrow We're just finalizing a few last safeguards. As for the Albert A. Capolini Community Cultural Center, that's going to continue to be closed until later in the month. We will be canceling the Senior Advisory Board's meeting, which is September 18th. We really do not feel comfortable for our senior population to have them congregate. And same with our Senior Nutrition Center. They will continue to provide their services to homebound seniors rather than having seniors congregate within our cultural center. Currently, the count as of today is 19 active cases in the town of Yorktown. We are still, like I said to you, to the public a few weeks back, we are seeing that roller coaster, and we are expected to continue to see that roller coaster ride until a vaccine is produced and distributed. And I believe that concludes. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't. I have one very last important thing, which is a very happy birthday to my daughter, Elizabeth, who turned 1.
Happy birthday.
So very happy birthday to my cutie back home.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you all. All right. Reports from the board. We will start with Councilman Patel.
Well, let me tell you, you have done everything. So I have, because you were 29 minutes behind. So I just want to remind the people, please do your part to keep yourself and your family safe. Put on the mask and do not throw mask or any kind of garbage any place you don't have to throw. I have seen this thing everywhere I go. And now I have decided I will not pick it up by myself because I'm not really sure that I should be touching in. So please try to keep yourself safe and also your family, your friends and neighbor, because without the mask, we are going to we will be suffering more. So please, virus is here and it's not going to get away. Vaccine may not be here for a long time. Be safe and enjoy your life.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilwoman Roker?
Well, I was away for 2 weeks, but I do have a question for you,
Yes.
which I think everybody will. Your meeting with the state legislature, what could they do with regard to the two utility companies? Because you know what? For the last couple of years, it's been the same.
Yeah.
And you know what? And if they can't do anything, they should tell us they can't do anything. But
Yeah.
then we don't send them any kind of increase.
Yeah. I can tell you that that hearing started at 11 a.m. and it was a Zoom meeting.
Right.
And I was the 7th out of 9 panels, if I remember correctly. And I was with a bunch of local officials, a lot from Westchester, with Ivy Poole, the supervisor from Newcastle. We had Rockland supervisors on there, mayors from Down County, the mayor of White Plains was on. We didn't begin until 11 o'clock at night. So, and so it was a very long hearing. And the frustration that I think we were able to portray, and Yorktown's very specific because we are, and I want to thank Senator Harcum for inviting me to participate, as well as William Byrne, but we are unique because we have both Con Ed and NYSEG.
Yes.
Other communities don't have that. So we're able to provide a real apples to apples comparison on response, on communication, customer service. And so we were able to provide some very compelling testimony about what our residents went through. One of which I don't hide from, and the chief knows it. We had a police officer trapped on Spring Road for 8 hours. 8 hours, because first they couldn't figure out if it was a NYSEG line or a Con Ed line. And then it took us north of 4 hours to get Con Ed to even respond to get the officer who was in his squad car free because there were trees down and wires down. And unfortunately, we can't touch the trees until we know the wires are dead, obviously, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. So it was a complete nightmare. And so we were able to provide that as just one piece of testimony for the state legislature. But, they're looking at crafting legislation. The United Westchester, which is a coalition it's a nonpartisan or bipartisan coalition of mayors and supervisors and state legislators, are reforming again. Assemblywoman Amy Paulin is taking the lead on that. And that provided some useful, I think, feedback and again, small incremental improvements by the utilities. But I think they're getting the idea and they're getting the picture, not just from the utility companies, but from telecommunication companies. And Steve can tell you, our Verizon cell tower at our PD went down. They had no cell service inside the PD for almost 24 hours. I mean, it really hampered our communication capabilities. And then when they hooked up the generator to fix it, they did it wrong. So there was a lot of problems, and to the point where we became the customer service representatives for the utility companies and telecommunication companies. My staff actually drove out to seniors to help them restart their modems because they couldn't get anybody on the phone. I mean, that's how bad it got, just from a customer service perspective. Yeah. I know our town clerk was dealing with similar issues and calls onto her office. So we just packaged it and provided it. And our hope is that the state legislature is going to, finally pass some meaningful legislation that's going to hold them accountable. And the fact that, Con Ed got an increase of 15% at the beginning of the year, that should be frozen immediately. And for the PSC to even be considering a 22% increase right now, I mean, it's just, you laugh and you would think it's a bad joke, but unfortunately it's happening. And, I was over at Jake Steinman at Steinman's Deli, and that's real money for these small businesses who are barely, surviving. And to get whacked with these kind of increases is just, it's frankly unconscionable.
So can I say something to you, Supervisor, and everybody else? 2% cap. What the hell they are talking about 20% increase in a rate hike, because they have not maintained their utility infrastructure. The transformers piece of junk. Before it used to last 40, 50 years, now 2-3 years blows up. They have a cheap quality stuff. And the LLC, the New Mexico, the Mexico, somebody else, I know the guy, I went there 10 times before, every time they had hearing locally, and now they are doing some. They can blame the trees and everything else, but really the component they are using now is really cheap. That's why it blows up. Because some of the contractor, I spoke with them and the engineer, they said, listen, they are wasting too much money, really. Just let it go here and there. The stockholder value comes before the service provider and those who pay the bill, Right. So this is a really very serious problem. How can we let it go for 10 days, no internet, nothing, and then 8.5 days, no electricity? Really, it's very difficult, And if everybody use a generator in the whole town, it'll cost a lot of money, and they generate more carbon dioxide and toxic vapor in the air. That's another problem we have. So that's my little speech in terms of utility. It's really bad,
It's like the small business stuff. If you go to a restaurant and you have a bad meal, the answer isn't to raise their price.
Right, exactly.
That's what we're dealing with. I mean, so it's just, to me, it's just backwards. If they deserve a rate increase, I think that's one thing. But clearly, with the experiences we've had over the last number of years, it just doesn't make any sense. And also considering the economic crisis that a lot of people are facing, it really doesn't make any sense.
All I can think of, the question I would say is why? You want a 22% rate increase. Why?
And their answer is to help implement their vegetation management program, which they should have. I mean, I don't buy it.
Started that years ago.
Yep.
But what we should do in our town, that if you have a house and if your trees falls on the road, the homeowner should be responsible for maintaining, So this way they have a safety in their own street, as well as, the safety of the utility service provider. Because, there are so many trees and people don't care. You don't cut the grass, you get the police send a notice, violation. How about the trees, Because if falls somebody else's car or somebody passing by, these are the very safety serious issue for all of us,
I agree.
Well, I know that our department still
we don't have money to take care of all the street. The guy going with the truck, big trees, and this is not my tree. Everybody, I think we should think about some kind of a solution and a resolution, something in town that people should care for it. At least you own the property, you have to maintain to some safety for yourself and your neighbors.
Yep. Councilwoman, anything else you want to add? Councilwoman?
No.
All right, then we will go over to Councilman Diana.
Good evening, all, and welcome back, everybody, for our brief working vacation. I'm going to be very brief about this. I want to thank everybody for putting up with this storm that we had a couple of weeks ago. Dave, thank you and your crew for what they did. Chief, once again, you guys were great out there. And I don't know what we'd do without our great police department and our great highway department. And just remember, folks, if you can, I know it's expensive, but if you can take care of your own trees, the ones that need to be pruned and so on and so forth, so they don't come down on wires, that's one less place that we will have to fix, or that the highway will have to come and clean up. So bear that in mind. I know we have a very full agenda here, so I'm not going to go on and on tonight. Next.
Thank you, Councilman Lachman.
All right, just some quick things. New York Presbyterian Hospital is doing a series of teaching kitchen classes done on Zoom. Most of them run on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can find out some more information at nyp.org and look for their community affairs area. Looked like some great opportunities. I know there was a Baby in Me, I think, that we missed today, but I think the one they have that's on actually a Friday on the 25th of the month, I wrote down because that's carb smart Italian cooking for people with diabetes. So some great classes there.
We may need that, Ed.
I don't say we may. I know I do. I like those apple cider donuts too, Chief.
Me too, Chief.
I want to thank Supervisor Slater for joining us, and at the Volunteer Ambulance Corps the other day, where the Yorktown Lions donated a Clorox 360 machine to help sanitize out the ambulances when they're done on their calls, making a 4-hour procedure a 10-minute procedure. And you know, the Lions doing some great things. Had also reached out and donated $1,000 worth of PPP equipment. And I want to thank Councilman Diana, because one of the things we were having a lot of trouble finding were the Tyvek suits, and he was able to come up with those at a very reasonable price. Couple of congratulations out there. All the gyms, but in particular Club Fit. We did a ribbon cutting with them last week. Today, Flames Asian Bistro. We did a ribbon cutting as they open up today for business at the Jefferson Valley Mall. These businesses need our support. Please, let's see what we could do to get out there and visit them and see what we could do. I want to also congratulate Paula Miratello and my brother Vinny again. They have been nominated for another Vetty Award. Chief, someone just flashed behind you. It looked like a white streak going past there, Chief.
I didn't see a thing.
Okay.
Plausible deniability, right, Chief?
And finally, you know, a lot of things were canceled this year. A lot of charities have been looking at new things to do. But I just found out today that United for the Troops has postponed their golf outing. They originally canceled it, so they're going to be doing a golf outing in October at Putnam National, or whatever it's called now, Putnam Golf Course. Nice course, great charity. They do a lot of work in our community for our soldiers fighting overseas with the care packages. 100% volunteer organization. All the money raised goes for shipping out their packages to our troops. So that's, I believe it's October 14th, but I can't swear to it. You could probably go to uft.org for more information.
October 5th.
October 5th, thank you.
October 5th, no problem.
Got it in your calendar already, huh there, Mr. Slater?
Maybe.
All
Maybe
right.
out there.
And actually, you know, I just want, I know I've been reading some of the police blotter things coming through, and Chief, congratulations. I know there was another nice drug bust the other day, taking drugs off our street, maybe a couple weeks ago. At this point, I know with the vacation, it's I'm not sure when I read it, but great work by our force, and thank you for the great leadership that you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
thank you and the board for your support. That's why good things happen. Thank you very much.
One thing Councilman Lackman, if you're finished.
Yep.
All right. The one thing I forgot to mention, 9/11. We do have several 9/11 services that are planned. I know the Elks are going to be doing one. Their traditional morning. I think it's 8:30 over at the Elks Lodge. The town will be hosting a 4:30 p.m. ceremony up at Shrub Oak. And I want to thank our town clerk, Diana Quast, because she's putting together a really magnificent video incorporating every and all parts of our community for those and Councilwoman Roker. For those who don't feel comfortable coming out, we're going to be able to play that on the town's government access channel on 9/11 throughout the day. And I got a few sneak peeks of it. And thanks to, again, Diana and Councilwoman Roker and my the fantastic TV producer we have back here, Tommy C. Angela. It really looks like it's coming together very, very nicely for everybody. So again, so that'll be 8:30 over at the Elks, 4:30. We do require everyone to wear a mask if you're coming out and obviously practice social distancing. But I know that a lot of people in the community, we're hoping for an in-person ceremony, but we're going to provide both options for in-person as well as virtual. So that'll be on 9/11. Highway Superintendent Paganelli, report from the town, sir, to the town.
Okay, so as you can well imagine, I'm very, very excited about the Mohegan Avenue wall being done, but equally excited about the first environmental retrofits ever that have been implemented, will be being implemented to keep phosphorus out of Mohegan Lake. And hopefully, you know, with that and with the treatments that are occurring, we will end up with a lake that is usable and swimmable. So very happy with that. With respect to the storm, we are still doing some cleanups. Bear in mind that if a tree falls from your yard into our roadways, we cut it back to where our right-of-way is. We don't come into your private yard and pull the tree out. That's just not doable. That being said, in response to the storm, we had initially extended the hours and waived the fees at our recycling yard at 2200 Greenwood Street. As of Saturday, the extended hours, which were a couple of Sundays, as well as until 5 daily instead of till 2:45, they have been suspended. So we're back to normal hours, 7:30 to 2:45. And of course, this week being Labor Day, we will be closed on Saturday and of course, Monday, Labor Day. So that's that. And I think that's about all I have. I thank the residents for reaching out to us to let us know that, you know, there were cleanups that we had missed. And if there are still cleanups in your area, we are currently fighting with Con Edison and NYSEG, of course. Not such a surprise because they are doing work that they are not cleaning up. And that is the case with respect to direct storm related work, but not 2 weeks after the storm when they come out and trim a tree and then expect us to clean it up. So, you know, we're fighting the good fight with them. It is what it is, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Highway Superintendent Paganelli.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
I have something else.
Okay.
I want to congratulate the Support Connection. I've been a board member for 18 years, and for the first time in my entire life, I had a virtual gala, and it was extremely successful. We did very well. It was very moving, and we raised a lot of money. So it was pretty cool. It was very unique. So congratulations, Support Connection. Thank you.
Excellent. And I want to echo from some of the town board members, Dave, thank you for all your help and leadership during the storm and the recovery. I know it hasn't been an easy task, but you and your highway department continue to do fantastic work. So I want to again thank you for all that you're doing for our residents.
Thank you. Thank you for your help during the storm.
Absolutely. We're going to move over to personnel. We've got a special guest with us tonight. We are going to have a resolution resolved that the retirement of Kim Anglis Gage is accepted with thanks for her many years of dedicated service to the town, effective August 31st, 2020. And Kim celebrating. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And we are joined by Kim Anglis Gage. Kim, congratulations. 30 years, right? 30 years with the town?
Oh my God.
Part-time and then full-time began in 95. So,
Awesome.
28 full years, 30 little part-time. Started when Linda Cooper, who was on the conservation board, she said that Pat LaFaro needed some help over at the office, and my son was in nursery school, so I said, okay, drop him off a couple of hours, and that's how it all began.
Yeah, and I know that so many good things that you've done for the town, from the puppet shows that you put together, the online A through Z guide, which is really a model for other communities. We've heard that quite a few times. And I know that the board really just wanted to thank you for your incredible service. I know that there was a small luncheon on Friday, and I know how appreciative your staff is and how much you're going to be missed. And so we really just want to take time out of our meeting here just to thank you for your incredible service to this community, raising your kids here, dedicating so much to Yorktown. And I just really wanted to thank you for everything you've done. And I know the board has some words they want to share with you as well.
Can I say something? I know Kim because our children were YCNS together, and we knew how to clean the cubbies and cut down the trees. Her husband used to cut down the trees and trimming and all that. It was really long time ago, but everybody worked so hard, just like a community. At that nursery school, I was building and ground chairman for 2 years, and then 1 year I took a break in between the two kids. I was still 5 years, and I had a little trouble in my toes over here, and I used to run around. First time the main entrance was fixed, Kim was there, and each and everyone did a really good job. And it's been painted only twice in 60 years, okay, more than 60 years. Still looks good, you know.
Excellent.
And we bought a lot of stuff from IBM and the furniture, and it looks carpet and everything else. And everybody works very hard, and this is very difficult to get in there because there's too many people who wants to come there, really. So, Kim, thank you for your service, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Good
you so
retirement.
Much, Vishnu. Lots of memories. Thank you very much.
Kim, hi.
Hi.
I guess we started about the same time since our kids went school together. And I see your husband Robert next to you. I can't believe it's your retirement, and I just wanted to say on behalf of myself, I thank you for everything you've done. You've answered so many questions I've had over the years. There is, you know, when Pat left, there wasn't a beep that you just automatically took over. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and wish you the best.
Thank you so very much, Alice. You've always been supportive. I've always enjoyed working with you. Once again, so many memories, you know, and we accomplished a lot. And everyone needs to be proud of what we've accomplished for the town of Yorktown in terms of environmental conservation and all the trash that we picked up. And I know I've overwhelmed you guys, and you've got a chuckle over the years. All the time I'm trying to bring to everybody's attention of how much is actually cleaned up, and in other words, how much is put out to be cleaned up, and we get it done. My crew has got it done. So thank you so very much, Alice. Appreciate it.
Kim, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Tom.
You gave us a heck of a run there.
Yeah.
The guy that I'm going to feel sorry for is the guy that's alongside you there, because you're going to be home all the time now.
It's my turn, Tom.
Right, Bobby?
We're loading up 2 race cars this weekend, and we're going racing.
That's what I like to hear.
I don't have to feel bad about leaving her home alone on the weekends now.
Kim, and I think my one of my things I remember is we're still going to talk trash no matter what happens.
Absolutely. Really, you know, I won't be able to get rid of it. I'll just always be thinking about trash.
That's it.
On my street the other day, AAA changed the recycling day, and I put my bin out, you know, a night early, and I said to Bob, I'm so tempted to get some chalk and write on the street to remind my neighbors, don't forget, put your bins out. Can't let it go.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Good luck. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Kim, I had not only the pleasure of serving the town with you, but also as a Lion, and always enjoyed talking trash with you, and you're the best trash talker on the
There you go.
in the Lions.
Same.
So and I know Carol is already like, who are they going to get to replace her? Because like she's like a school child watching your lessons and trying to see what you can cram into that 3-minute speech that you give. And
you gotta pack a lot in there, yeah.
yeah, so it's going to be very, very big shoes to replace because of the great work that you did for the town, and we do appreciate it. And just gives you more time to hang out with the Lions now. So
there you go. Thank you so very much. Really, it's been a pleasure. I know it's called work, but I'm so fortunate that I've had this opportunity to be working here in my community for my community, and it was a great run. I feel good about the department. I feel good about what we've accomplished. So that's it. Great.
Kim, you enjoy. The good news is you're not going anywhere because you and Bob are staying right here in Yorktown, right?
As I said, this is our community.
Beautiful. That's what I like to hear.
You're gonna see us around, yeah.
Here's the next question, Kim. Did your alarm go off today?
No, it did not. As I told my guys, as I told my crew, since I live in Section 6 where we're doing bulk trash right now.
Yep.
Last night that alarm clock went out on the pile. So.
Yeah.
It did. That's not a joke. It did.
Awesome. Well, listen, best of luck. We really do appreciate all your service to the town. We're looking forward to keep seeing you around town, and to you and Bobby and your entire family. Just a big thank you for your incredible service to this community. Thank you so much.
So very much. I'll miss everybody, but on to the next chapter. So
that's right.
Be well, everyone.
Be around town. Thanks, Kim.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Bob.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Robert.
Okay, we're going to go on to our next presentation. Another Robert, Chief Robert Noble. Chief, how we doing?
Good evening, Supervisor. Good evening, everybody.
And I know
Thank you.
we're joined by Annette. Annette just jumped on there. Annette, how are you? Good to see you again.
Hi, Annette.
And we've got some very exciting news to share with the community. So why don't you two take it away and share what we have in store?
All right. Annette, would you like to start it?
Sure. I just wanted to, I imagine that you know somewhat about the Hope Not Handcuffs program, but I just wanted to say that we officially launched the program today at the Yorktown Police Department, kicking off the first police department in Westchester County, which we're really excited about. Our program is, I think, as of today, in 23 police departments around, this would be the 5th county, so Orange, Rockland, Putnam, and Dutchess. And we're really excited to be bringing it to Westchester and to start to recruit volunteers and community members in your area to become angels to help people in need.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough, like I had said earlier today, to attend to have been invited and attend a Putnam County meeting where I met Annette, and I listened to the Parry program, the Hope Not Handcuffs, and it just seemed to me to be we can do this in Yorktown. It's a an on-arrest pathway for treatment and recovery. It's a pre-arrest diversion program that quite honestly, it's in our wheelhouse. We can pull it off. With the men and women that work at the Yorktown Police Department, high character, great bunch, want to help the community, and they bought in. When I rolled this out of the staff meeting and my supervisors brought it down to the officers of the department, I can say we were all in. I mean, we took this as an opportunity to say, hey, look, you know what, we're always there, 24/7, 365. And there's people a lot smarter than me that said, we can't arrest our way out of this. And I've learned a lot in my career, and the one thing I have learned is that if you can make a positive difference in someone's life, when you begin a career in law enforcement, I said it myself, and many of the people who look for careers, like, I just want to help people. And this is a way to help people who are really struggling and need that helping hand. And and I think we've done an excellent job in this community, just putting a benevolent face on our agency, that, we're there for people when they need them. Whether it's the collections we make for the food pantries or the funds we raise for families in need in this community. Well, now, you know what? There's a group of people, struggling with addiction. And I'm sure the last place they thought they could go to was a police department. And you know what? We're going to change the narrative on that. And I think a lot of other agencies are going to jump on with this program. I think Annette has started something wonderful and beneficial. And you know what? As police officers, we're about preserving and saving lives. And hopefully with this in our community now, as I had said earlier today, we won't be meeting people, unconscious and praying they wake up from a Narcan dose that we hope has gotten there in time. Now, maybe, you know what, they can walk into a police department and just say, I'm at rock bottom, I need help.
Right.
And they're not going to get arrested, and we're going to try to do right by them.
Right.
And like I said before, and Annette backed me up on this is not a get out of jail free card. We can't help, if you're if you're wanted for serious crimes, if you're a sex offender, probation, parole, we can't take you in this program. If you're on probation, we're not going to contact your probation officer either, but we can't, like I said, it's not a get out of jail free card. This is for people who truly want help. And as I sit here tonight, I'm telling you, we're going to try to help.
Great.
I'm so proud of you too. I'm so proud of, obviously, of the community, because you know what? I've seen people who've needed help. And I think you wrote to us about a man who you got help, even though he had committed a crime. It is, thank you for bringing this to Yorktown. Annette, Bob, thank you for being the person that I think when police officers, I think about my father as a police officer. I can tell you, he was what you just said. He said, I'm doing this to help people. And I just thank you, because there are a lot of people who need help. And to hear that, you can come in and we'll help you. We'll help you find a place. For me, it's a great thing to do. It's so positive.
And I think that one of the words that we used when we rolled it out earlier today was compassion. And it should be no surprise to anyone that Yorktown and the Yorktown Police Department is the first in Westchester County to institute this program, because we embody that type of compassion. And we've coined it the Yorktown way, because we're always there to help each other up, always there with a helping hand. And this is just building on that. And, we've seen successes in this program. It's a national model that we're bringing here, which is great. And it should be no surprise to anyone that the Yorktown Police Department is the first in the county to bring this right here to Westchester County. And so for those, just to reemphasize what it does, for those who are struggling with addiction, you have a safe place, you have a safe haven at the Yorktown Police Department where, and I pledge that I would be an angel, and I'm sticking to that. I'm going to sign up, I'm going to get trained, and I'm going to be an angel too, where you need help, and so is the chief, where if you need help, you go to the police department and they will put you through this program on the right path to hopefully recovery. And I can tell you from my experience, not just here on the local level, but when I worked for the state legislature, my office was getting calls from people saying, I have a loved one who needs help. And that window is so small. It's so small when someone raises their hand and say, okay, I need help. Yes. And now we have a place and a program right here in Yorktown where when that window opens, you know exactly where to go. And we're going to be able to help as many people who can take advantage of it. And it's just such a great program. I'm so happy that and honored to be a part of it. So happy and honored to participate in it, because again, I will be putting my application in for an angel, but for the residents of Yorktown, it just falls right in our wheelhouse, like the chief said, and right, and it really does resemble the police department that we're lucky to have. So
you could use me as a reference supervisor on that.
Oh, good. I didn't know I needed references.
If I could just talk for a second about the efficacy of the program, because This model, this is a PARI model, PARI or PARI. I'm from Michigan, so I say PARI. It stands for Police Assisted Addiction Recovery Initiative. So it is a nationwide program. It's being done all over the country in about 700 police departments. My nonprofit organization was the first to bring it to New York from Michigan, the Hope Not Handcuffs model in particular. So the Hope Not Handcuffs model in particular is where they use community members to sort of work from the inside out. So not only do the police serve the community, but the community serve the police back. And so you're utilizing essentially what it is community mobilization. So you're utilizing your own community to address a problem. So in the past, the police have, they have addressed addiction. Really, they've only had two ways to do it, right? So it's arrest and release. And this is just a different way, which is divert. And so the people who are most directly affected by this problem are the ones who sign up to volunteer to help. So, I mean, it's a pretty incredible program. We have had in a little over a year and a half, about 700 and some, maybe 30 some people sign up to become angels. And in Orange County in particular, where we have 15 police departments, so there's a big cluster up here. And, we do have a few billboards and different things too. So there's a little bit more availability to it. But we've seen great success. I mean, I know it's been over 350, but I'm going to say around like 360 something where we've put into treatment. And we do work, actually, interestingly enough, when you talk about probation, though, we do have probation officers and probation offices call us as well. We do some post-arrest work as well with bail reform. Obviously, a lot of times people will be offered appearance ticket, but in that opportunity, we use the officer's discretion in that if they want to be able, they recognize that someone was committing a crime to support their addiction. The theory is to fix the addiction, and then the crimes would be hopefully not committed, right? So they will often offer the program in that respect too. We let the officers and be police officers. That's not our role. Whatever their discretion is, if they call us, whether the person, we always say it like this: we don't care how their butt got in the chair, we're coming. So if you call us, we're going to be there, whether they're arrested or not, or whether they came in on their own. And I should say too, a lot of times parents will bring their kids in. From my age group, I'm in that mid 50 something age group. I have a 32-year-old son is my oldest. And I think we are more the mindset of still, the police are there to help us, right? And so the parents often will bring their young 20 something in, knowing that that's a safe place to go. It's a little bit more of a challenge without just the general community at large. Sometimes they oftentimes are nervous about coming into the police department, but that's where the officers can play the role, and they can be the ones who can go out and talk about the program and offer it to people when they're out interacting. So it's really, really just another tool in the toolbox, for them to be able to, and it's ready-made community policing before community policing actually became a controversial topic recently, but it's been around for a little while and it's been doing well. So again, I'm certainly grateful. I hope to expand even further, but Chief Noble and I met about a year ago, and he's been interested in this for a really long time. So his heart's in it. So you're lucky to have such a great invested chief there.
Thanks, Annette.
We were originally going to bring this in April, correct? And then COVID hit, so we postponed it. And so now we were able to roll it out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that came to police headquarters in March and rolled it out to my supervisors, and we were ready to go. We were trained, had a policy that was approved and ready to roll. And then COVID struck and everything went on hold. And that's an important thing too, for anybody who is coming to headquarters. Just our phone number's right on the doors out there. And all you have to do is hit the intercom. While we do keep the doors closed, somebody will always come out, if you call the intercom or call us up. So, we'll answer that call, and we're going to do the best we can to help any and all people who come. Like Annette had said, I hope people take advantage of it. Maybe the town can put a link, on the website. We'll certainly put it on our police department website. I'll have a link created and put there. And we're going to remind the public that we have this. It's not going to go away after today. And it only takes one to get the ball rolling. So, who knows when that first person, is going to come through the door, but I'm optimistic they are, and I'm confident that my staff is going to do the right thing.
Yeah. And yesterday was International Overdose Awareness Day. So pretty fitting that we rolled it out today. And I believe, Annette, you said that so far your program has provided this service to over 300 people in the Hudson Valley, if I remember correctly.
We have actually placed about 350 people. We get hundreds of phone calls, even just sometimes people calling and they want to ask about what is this, how does this work, and sometimes they're just poking around, getting a little information because maybe they're nervous about it. Occasionally, there could be a perception that it's, like you had said, like it was a get out of jail free card, and we definitely don't see it that way. We're just here if they need us. But police officers need to be police officers, so they know what they're doing. And but also in the event, God forbid, that we all go into lockdown again, let's hope that doesn't happen. But during that time period, we were not having our angels, because it wasn't the right thing to do to have our angels go into the police department, So we did suspend angels in person for a little bit. But during that process or time period, we placed a lot of people by phone. So if the police, if that were to happen again, you certainly have our information available. We were putting people in treatment right over the phone with them. We were doing an intake and getting them into treatment that way. So don't worry if that were to happen again. We already figured that out last time. So.
Which is great, because we heard, from reports out there that during the lockdown, obviously substance abuse was on the rise. And so the fact that you're still be able to provide that assistance to people. And I just can't tell you, just from my personal experience, how great it is to have that resource right in Yorktown, right at your fingertips, to be able to place someone in need. I mean, it's because, like I said, I've seen it when I was working for the state legislature. We toured the state, on a task force, and you just heard horror stories of people who just didn't know who to call. They just didn't even know where to go. They didn't know who to turn to help get them into treatment. And to have this in Yorktown, I really can't tell people how important it is and what a big step it is in our fight against addiction. So it's just so great. It really is.
I can only echo the supervisor and chief and Annette. Thank you so much for bringing this to the forefront. This is the type of forward thinking that I love about our town and our police department and the people in the government. Having been on the forefront of the opioid epidemic that's out there with Yorktown Against Heroin, I understand all too well the amount of time and expertise that it takes to get the folks treated. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be put in handcuffs. Some of them definitely need the help to get placed. And a lot of it falls on having worked with Senator Murphy, past Senator Murphy at the time, just getting them insurance to get them placed was sometimes a battle. And I believe it still goes on to get them into these facilities so that they can be helped. And it's great. Thank you both for bringing it forward. And, in this time of defunding police departments, give the police departments more money, because this is the type of stuff they come up with and they get done.
Absolutely.
We will get people insurance as well. That's another thing that we do.
Yeah, that's great.
It doesn't matter if they have insurance or not. In fact, like on Friday, we had two people from the New Windsor Police Department up here that both of them, or I should say neither of them, had insurance, and we were able to get both of them. Actually, interesting story with that. On Friday night, we had someone come in late, and the dispatcher is an angel as well. So she was not only, she says, "Can I take this when it's quiet?" I said, "Well, if your chief doesn't mind." So she ended up, we did it over the phone together, but it was amazing. And the officers were involved. I mean, it was just such a beautiful thing when everybody comes together like that and works collaboratively on those types of situations. And that young man, I know he's in treatment now. I mean, let's just, all we do at that point is we can get him there.
Right.
And then after that, we put him in the hands of the clinicians, and we put him in the hands of the people who are in treatment. And let's just hope from then they take them and are able to get them well. So it is a hard thing, though. When you're struggling, boy, I don't know if you've ever hopefully you haven't had the opportunity to navigate the treatment system. It is a nightmare. So
Quagmire, yeah.
it really is. And it has definitely gotten more complicated with COVID because most of the facilities are at 50% capacity too on top of it. So it's gotten more challenging to find treatment, but we manage, but yeah, it's a tough time right now. So
can I just say hi to Chief? This is a wonderful program, but may I ask each and everyone listening, this program is privately funded, or is there any state or county or federal involved in funding it?
That is an interesting question. I was just having a conversation today about. We are an unfunded program. So my nonprofit that I started 4 years ago, we up until a year and a half ago with Hope Not Handcuffs, we focus primarily on prevention, so youth prevention. So we work with youth ages 12 to 18 and drug and alcohol prevention. So we try to cover all areas. We're trying to catch them before they go to that place, if they ever do. And then once they're there, we try to get them the help they need. But the prevention side of my organization does hold a federal grant, which is, it's through SAMHSA, but now the CDC. It's a large called Drug Free Community Grant. So we do have a federal grant for that side of my organization. The Hope Not Handcuff side is still unfunded. So I'm actively, in pursuit of funding for it. But up until now, we've gotten a few small legislative, we had a legislative grant last year and a few other small community grants. But for the most part, we're still kind of grassroots on that part. So,
I just want to say thank you. I had the pleasure of meeting you earlier at the press conference and little Facebook Live, just hearing how people in your group have taken something that may have been, that was tragic in their life and something that could cause a person to shut down, but instead to say, let me turn this into something good. Let me take this and work with people and try to prevent this from happening again is amazing. It's, just so great to see. And, Chief, I know that, I support your force wholeheartedly, but, sometimes we forget the reasoning and the fact that, this is, and as Annette pointed, no police department that's running this has been contacted by Hope Not Handcuffs. It's all been people that sit on the forefront like you who say, what can we do to get better? What can we do for community policing that's going to make a difference? And taking the initiative to say, let's see what we can do to bring this to the town. It's an amazing, amazing thing. I've seen, I've seen the results. I've worked at a residential treatment center for at-risk youth. That 12 to 18-year-old, actually, we kept them through 21 at times, and the struggles and the fights, and as Supervisor Slater pointed out, that window of when they're looking for help. Yeah. It could literally be minutes. It's that small, and to see this and know that we have that outlet for our residents and even local people in Westchester, because I know that we have people from all over that pass through Yorktown, and it's just great. Thank you both for making sure that this got together for Yorktown and Westchester County.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Councilman. And, like I said, it's been a pleasure, working with Annette. The beauty of this was, it seemed to be too good to be true. I was present for quite a few conversations with different PARI models, and, quite honestly, I can go on all day about my department and the confidence I have in them and the caliber of people that are in my building. But sometimes things are just too cumbersome and too difficult. Hope with Handcuffs is not. It's a simple premise, and it's something that I fully believe that we could get right and we could do well. And like I said, the first time I had heard, her present, her speak to it, I knew we could do it, and we'll do it well.
One of the reasons, Chief, that I stay in Yorktown is that this is a very charitable community. And charity starts at the top. And I think our government, I think your department has done so much for the community in terms of your officers. They're always out there in terms of any of the community groups that have an event. I thank you for today's world is very difficult. I thank you too for putting that ray of sunshine out there for us to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Chief and Annette, thank you so much for bringing this to Yorktown, for presenting it to the town board and to the public. We are so excited to have this in our community. And Chief, I'll be using you as a reference for my Angel application.
P.S. I know him too well. I don't know that the Angel category is going to fit.
Yeah.
There must be another category we can put him in.
I could vouch for the supervisor and Alice. I don't know about the rest of you. I got to get to.
Hey.
I was going to leave Matt alone, but you just opened him up. Remember, Tommy, a fallen angel is still an angel, right?
Oh, that's true. Okay, we'll go.
You were terrible tonight.
I'm a horrible human being.
Yeah, it's been a while. Chief and Annette, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate your time.
All right. And if you go to Wilkins this weekend, hook this guy up with some apple cider donuts and the men and women of the PD.
You got it. No problem.
Actually, they're chocolate-covered apple cider donuts.
That's not going to scare me, Ed.
Going over it.
Ed,
Insane.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Thank you both.
Thank you all. Thanks, Annette.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you, Annette.
Okay, next we have Corporal Troy Perez, resident of Yorktown, member of the New York Army National Guard, and soon to be competing in a national competition. Troy, let me ask you with one. I'm going to start with one question. How many pull-ups did you do today?
All of them.
Look, Troy. For those who don't know, Troy won. Troy, you run the state competition, the regional competition, and now you're heading down. What did you say? Was Mississippi?
Camp Shelby, Mississippi.
Mississippi to compete, and it's next week, right?
So I leave September 11th. So the actual competition will be from the 13th to the 16th.
Okay.
So we're going to get there a day earlier and see our grounds, see what we got to do, show them what New York got to do.
That's right. Right.
Representing.
Our town clerk, Diana Quast, and I had the absolute honor of presenting Troy with a proclamation. We had originally hoped to present it to him virtually and then go see him, but the storm hit and postponed that meeting. So we reversed course and presented the proclamation and now have him virtually just to say a big Yorktown thank you. I know you're representing not just know that you're not representing the state, you're representing your hometown. And we are just so proud of you for all you've accomplished.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And just know when you get on that plane, you got an entire town rooting for you to bring the national championship. All right.
Thank you. On top of that, I just want to say personally, I know there's so much going on in our world, and we look at this, especially competition, as friendly competition. It keeps yourself busy at the same time. But, just personally, if I could just say, I personally want to give the credit where credit's due. And that's all. That's for all our service members and healthcare workers who work day and night to make sure the necessary care is available. Absolutely. To also make sure everyone is treated. To be also notified, at a drop of a dime, to pack your necessary equipment, be ready, is what we're all about. Being a proud service member of the New York National Guard really presents its selfless work through our actions and by providing stability to maintain and sustain our populace throughout this pandemic and the adversity it brought along with it. It's a huge challenge because it was a constant evolving situation. Not only this competition could try to keep our minds off other things, but there's real life stuff going on at the same time. But we can't just deviate from that. But I'm proud to serve, do what I got to do. At the same time, building up morale, bringing up, hopefully I can influence so many other people to look up, at the same time, be that role model and be the best version of themselves every day. Just to keep, just compete against yourself. That's all it is, to see how far you could go. So that's why I love this competition at the same time, because I'm perfecting my trade. And not only that, I could pass it down to my subordinates at the same time to make them better people and soldiers.
Fantastic. And for the board to know also, Troy, you're not just a member of the Army National Guard, but you also are an EMT, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so service really runs in your blood. And we just can't thank you enough for serving this country, for protecting us, for keeping us safe, and for your service to your community. It really is, it's just incredible. And it was so great to meet you. So great to learn more about what you stand for and what you believe in, and it's just so refreshing. It really is, and it was. I got to tell you, I was having a tough day that day, and you really turned it around for me. So I really want to thank you.
Listen, we got to remind ourselves that we are blessed. We wake up every morning, and that's another day towards serving our purpose in life. And it doesn't matter if you have a bad day. Who cares? The people who have worse days than you. As long as you have a roof over your head, you got food, you're eating, you have your family, and whatever keeps you going. You know, you are blessed in your own way. So there's you can never, if you let a negative thought impact the whole day, that's on you. I don't blame anyone else but yourself. It's a mindset. So once you start realizing you are breathing, you're still walking, you have your feet, littlest things that you may not think is a blessing, it is a huge blessing that people wish they had. So don't take that for granted. Don't take those 24 hours in that day for granted.
You can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, spend an hour with this guy. He can turn any day around. I mean, his outlook is incredible. Attitude is amazing. Just a true gentleman and representing the town of Yorktown. I mean, it's just fantastic. It really is. And so we're just...
Troy, where are you in EMT?
I work for the fire department. I'm in Station 3 off of Zariga in the Bronx.
Very good. Very good.
So we got, say again?
I wanted to thank you being a member of the National Guard, because if you get called up, you're called up. Sometimes you may not even know where you're going.
You know, that's part of the, it's not, I don't want to say it's a job, it's a career. I love what I do at the end of the day. It's not working for me at all. I enjoy it every moment. So I'm very proud to put on this uniform, and just to know that I'm at that ready. Once that, it could be any time you call me. It could be like 3 a.m, 4 a.m. I'm ready. Let's go. I have all my stuff ready, packed, away to go. It's ready in the vehicle. Let's go. This is what I signed up for. And it's sad that some people will go through their lives not realizing what their purpose is in life sometimes. And it is sad, but hopefully one of my main purposes in life is to show other people that they do have a purpose. And you know what? Everyone has their own journey. So all I could do is just keep enforcing it to them. And if they're in National Guard, if they're in my team, they're in my squad, or even in passing, I could just, whatever talking I could do, it's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So even that little speaking, even a little motivational speech I give, it will influence them, even not only that for that one day, but for life. They will always remember that.
You're a blessing.
He really is. He really is.
We all are. Every living person.
Troy, the next time you go work out, let me know. I'll come and watch.
Yeah, you go watch.
Okay. And you spoke a volume there, because someone told me a long time ago that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
And it's 100%.
But you got to make the money to live, you know.
Thank you, Troy, for what you did, for what you do for us, and good luck.
Absolutely. Hey, Matt, do you have Troy's contact information?
Yeah, we have Troy's contact. We can definitely share it around for the board, so you guys can stay in touch with him. And I know he's going to report back after the competition's concluded. Right?
I'm sorry to interrupt. If I could say one thing, so our unit itself, so the Fighting 69th, 1st Battalion, 69th Infantry, we have not only won the regional competition. This is the 3 years in a row, right? It's unheard, and especially now we have Staff Sergeant Ortiz. He's also the NCO that's also competing with me itself. He's my partner. We have been, our relationship, we're both FDNY EMS as well. We knew each other years prior, even in the National Guard. So now we have that relationship, and we're both together. We're winning together at the same time. So that not alone, we had that advantage over the other regions is that relationship that we both have. And not only we always became short of the national competition for the past 2 years. So now this year will be the first. And I will tell you right now, we're hungry, and New York's coming for every other region. And we're going to get this.
Yay.
We're hungry.
Go New York.
Three times, you know, they say 3 times a charm.
That's right.
Our unit crest, it has that clover. It's a 3-leaf clover. And that's 3 times a charm. It's a sign. It's a sign. It's a blessing.
Well, listen, we're rooting for you. We're praying for you. We are so honored to have you represent us, represent this community in this state. And we wish you nothing but the best, Troy. Just fantastic.
God bless.
Thank you guys so much.
Go get him, Troy.
God bless. Thank you.
Looking forward to celebrating when you get back.
Of course, you know where I live.
You know where you live. Troy, all the best. Great seeing you.
Thank you, guys. God bless. Have a good night.
God bless.
God bless. Have a good night.
Okay. He is something, man. Oh, man. I could talk to him all day long. He's the best. So we're moving on with our agenda here. We have our poet laureate, John McMullen. John?
Hi, Matt.
You'd be good to go, John. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
You can hear you loud and clear, sir. Go for it.
Okay. If this were 1970, if it were 1970 and I lived in Yorktown then, and the virus came, and we had no masks or gloves, cable TV, regular reports from my governor and my town supervisor, the lockdowns, internet in homes, Zoom, what would I be if I were my age then? Probably dead.
Geez, John.
That was terrible.
I mentioned earlier Con Ed and NYSEG, as Matt knows from my email.
Yeah.
I had some difficulty with Optum, who kept sending me this PAP. And finally, I got to speak to one person, and the person said, "Oh, well, as soon as Con Ed gives you power, you'll be online." So I said, "I've had power for 3 days." And they said, "Oh, well, they must not be giving us power."
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Let the power be with them.
It was like this.
That's right.
Thank you,
John. Thank you so much. I guess motion for courtesy of the floor. And Diana, do we have anybody in queue for that?
Yes, we do. Hold on one second.
Oh, Matt's back. Okay, we just went for courtesy of the floor.
Yep, I heard you. No problem. John, thank you.
Susan, are you on?
I can't.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Susan.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I have some questions about some resolutions that are on the that you'll be voting for shortly. When you get to vote for the CSEA and the PBA contracts, could you please also tell the community what the salary increases will be and what the dollar impact will be on a yearly basis to the budget? And are there any other interesting provisions in the contract, possibly dealing with productivity? On the resolution to hire the LaBerge Group, I think I mispronounced it, to write to submit 2 grant applications. Could you tell us more specifically what those what the application details are for, and if there's going to be assuming we hopefully get the award, what the town match will be, and also at what town board meeting did the full board discuss the different options of which programs to apply for, and is it definite that the money is going to be available this year? Because at a previous meeting, the LaBerge person kind of felt that the state wasn't going to have any grants going. And then the third question I'd like possibly the town attorney could answer, or if the supervisor knows. There was several months ago, the town, I think last December, the town filed a foreclosure petition, and people had until May 1st to pay the bills. But because of COVID, that was postponed until August 1st. So I'd like to know the status of those petitions, and has it been finalized, and what the status is, and how many properties the town could potentially take title to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. You have anybody else for courtesy of the floor?
We have Linda Miller.
Hey, Linda. No.
No.
There?
Try again. No.
No, we're having a hard time hearing you. We can see you trying to talk.
TV. Is that better?
Yes.
What? Yes.
Thank you and good evening. What I'd like to say is that Yorktown's trees and woodlands are valuable cultural, aesthetic, and ecological resources, and they help to make our town a pleasant and healthy place to live. But this can turn really ugly as soon as the wind starts to blow. When the hurricanes, nor'easters, and ice storms come, those beneficial trees suddenly become dangerous and threatening to power lines, roofs, cars, trees, pocketbooks, and tragically, potentially even lives. When a storm is predicted, we've all learned the drill of preparing for a power outage and keep a nervous eye out the window, bracing for the cracking sounds of trees coming down. I know I do. After the storm, after the lights come back on and the streets are cleared, often there are rumblings that this is all the fault of the Tree and Woodland Preservation Law. The tree law is somehow preventing homeowners from protecting themselves from tree-caused damage. This is a misconception. Let me clarify. Nothing in the Tree and Woodland Law prevents removing hazardous, dead, or diseased trees or trees that might interfere with overhead utility lines. Nothing prevents normal maintenance of trees. No permit is required for these activities. You can just do it.
Right.
In fact, a property owner can even remove up to 9 healthy trees every year in an area of 10,000 square feet or more without a permit. So if you feel the need, you can clear a perimeter around your house. A permit, however, is needed to remove a large specimen tree over 24 inches DBH, but no permit is needed to maintain and prune that tree, so it can be pruned so it's less likely to drop dangerous branches. A permit is needed to disturb protected woodlands. The woodlands, this is to protect the many ecological benefits they provide for us, and I feel this is the heart of the Tree and Woodland Preservation Law. But trees and woodlands aren't the ones that typically are falling on power lines. So please don't blame the Tree and Woodland Law. We need it. It recognizes that trees can be both beneficial and harmful and balances protecting those benefits with the right and indeed with the responsibility of the property owner to manage hazardous trees. And then I would like to take a few seconds on an entirely different subject, and that is to thank the town board, the Department of Parks and Rec, and everybody who worked to open the Chabot pool for that short time this summer. We really needed that. We needed that touch of normalcy. Especially, I want to thank all the workers there at the pool. They were fantastic. They seemed very conscientious, and I felt absolutely perfectly COVID safe. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Linda. It's a great PSA for the tree law.
Thank you.
And anybody else?
We have Diego next.
Okay. Diego,
Good evening, Super. Yeah, how's it going? Good evening, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
Good evening.
Good, thanks. Just wrapped up bedtime, feeling pretty accomplished right now. First of all, thank you for having me on tonight. As co-chair of Yorktown for Justice, I'd again like to thank you guys for allowing us to be part of the work session on August 11th and beginning the discussion about Executive Order 203. We wanted to reach out again and remind the board that we would love the opportunity to continue our cordial and constructive conversation. Other nearby towns are 1 to 2 months into regular meetings, and we are here to help and support the community and the police department. So good night, and also saw the Hope Before Handcuffs initiative. We're very thankful for that and continue to be impressed, Supervisor Slater. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that,
Thank you.
Is there anything we could do to move the conversation along about, we believe that stakeholder, which is specifically cited in Executive Order 203, calls out people with a vested interest. And I can make a pretty strong argument that we have the strongest vested interest, and we continue to make ourselves available for these conversations. What can we do to move this conversation along?
Diego, we answer questions at the end of the courtesy of the floor, so we'll address any questions at the end.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Diana, anybody else?
We have Maura Gregory.
Great.
Hi.
Maura, how-
Hi, Laura.
Laura Gregory from Mohegan Lake. I wanted to discuss two things during my time. One is the contract with the Yorktown Police Benevolent Association, which is on tonight's agenda, and the other is the bike path. First, I want to say that I'm speaking on behalf of myself alone and not on behalf of any organization. When I saw that the contract with the police union was on the agenda tonight, I was rather surprised because I was not aware that a contract with them was being negotiated or that it was even an issue at this time. Given that the governor has issued an executive order number 203, which requires towns and municipalities and all governmental entities with a police force to review their police forces from top to bottom, basically soup to nuts, everything they do about policing in their towns. It just seems to me that it might be prudent at this time to table the resolution on the execution of this agreement. I'm not saying it's because of anything I know that's in there, because I have no idea what's in there. But it seems to me that the task force that you're going to be creating to enforce the terms of Executive Order 203 potentially could be handcuffed if it turns out that there are certain things that they recommend that can't be done because of the terms of the contract, and the contract doesn't expire all the way to the end of 2024. So it seems to me that it would make sense not to tie the hands of your task force, but just to table the execution of the agreement. It's going to be retroactive to the beginning of the year, no matter when you execute it, and then create a task force and give them an opportunity to review it. So the other topic I wanted to bring up was regarding the safety of the bike path. I have emailed town board members and Highway Superintendent Paganelli about this issue. As I'm sure you all know, there was a horrible accident on August 23rd on the bike path, and the bicyclist in that accident eventually died. I was bicycling in that area at that time. I'd gone through that intersection 10 or 15 minutes before, and then I turned around and came back up just as the ambulances arrived, and I saw that poor gentleman on the ground and other bicyclists doing chest compressions on him for quite some time. And it was really a terrible, tragic thing. I did not see the accident itself, but I'm very familiar with that intersection. There's no crosswalk markings on the pavement at that intersection. And I think that everywhere that the bike path crosses a Yorktown road, we should be putting a crosswalk there, painting the road there. I see no reason why we can't do it if it's a road that belongs to us. And I can tell you from my experience riding on the bike path for about 15 years, when I approach one of those crosswalks that's painted on the pavement, frequently the cars stop before I do and let me go through because they see that. It's I think, a great safety feature. I think there are other things that can be done, signs, cones, whatever. But I know there are several in our town that do have the crosswalks. I think that's Underhill, Hanover, 35. And my experience there is that cars frequently stop there and let the bicyclists go through. It makes it a whole lot safer. And Birdsall, I believe, is a town road. I think there's other roads that are town roads that the bike path crosses that crosswalks could be painted on. And I think this should be done sooner rather than later. It's a tremendous safety issue. And that's what I wanted to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Maura.
That's all I have.
Okay. Motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board want to answer any questions? I can, for Ms. Siegel's questions. I don't have the dollar impact specifically in front of me. The PBA would be the PBA's. It would be a 5-year contract. Currently, the PBA is out of contract. First off, it was never renegotiated. It's a 1.5, a 1.75, a 2.5, a 2.5, and a 2.5 over 5 years. The CSEA would receive a 0 for this year and 2.5s for the following 4. Those are the bones of the contract. Again, I don't have the dollar impact in front of me, unfortunately, but those are the raises. In regards to the LaBerge Group, application details, it would be for specifically the recycling program, as well as the local waterfront revitalization plan, both of which were spelled out in the resolution. The municipal waste reduction and recycling program, specifically for the purchase of a new, we call it the Beast. I'm sure you're aware of it, up at the organic yard. Takes all of the material and mulches it down. It was funny. I was speaking with Kim Anglis Gage yesterday during her exit interview. I believe it's roughly 18 years old, and it's coming to the end of its useful life. So we need to prepare for the purchase of that equipment. That is a matching grant, a 50% matching grant for that equipment. And that's why we want to at least get on the list. That remains open, that particular program. So we want to get on the list so we can execute that. The local waterfront revitalization program, as I've stated many times, specifically goes towards our lakes, specifically Sparkle, Osceola, and Mohegan. And all 3 were added to the state's inland waterway list, which is the first step towards a local waterfront revitalization program. And now we want to engage in actually creating said programs for each lake. Now, we are working with LaBerge. If the board so chooses to pass this resolution, we will be discussing whether we're going to put one townwide application in, because there are other lakes that would fall under an LWRP, or if we're going to tackle them individually. We are still having those conversations. LaBerge has said that if there is no CFA, and we've heard mixed communication about whether or not there will be a CFA process, but if there is no CFA process this year, we will be credited and it will roll over to next year. So this way, at least our application is ready to go should the CFA process open up. If anyone else has anything they want to add while I go through my notes here. And then the foreclosure petition, Mr. Rodriguez, I don't know if you can comment on that.
Sure. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I can say, obviously COVID slowed down the proceeding, but we've had some successes and have collected hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes to this point, with many, a greater number of hundreds of thousands of dollars on the horizon. And, as a fruit of our efforts, negotiating and being in communication with the property owners.
Thank you. Any comments from the board for?
I think that with regard to the negotiations, I think they were fair and equitable negotiations that went for both our CSEA and our police department. And I think our employees are very happy with what they got and the way that the negotiations were conducted in that time frame. As far as the money value, I don't, like I say, have that in front of us, so we can't answer that right now.
Was out of line, Tommy, with any other contracts for municipal employees.
The other things, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but just there will be retirement incentives, 1-year retirement incentive for the police, which we anticipate will save approximately $500,000 next year, as well as with CSEA, we anticipate we've actually fixed they had an issue with retirement medical, and frankly, it prevented a lot of employees from retiring because they simply couldn't afford to retire. And we were able to address that within the contract, and we do anticipate CSEA members, we anticipate several putting in for their retirement this year or next year as well. So all that will save us money up front. I really was in favor of a 5-year contract because I think that we need to make sure that we give ourselves the ability to financially plan. Our negotiating team, which included the comptroller, ran all the numbers. I think these are very fair and equitable contracts. I think they do good for the town. I think they do good for the town employees. And I think that everyone walks away feeling as if we've each accomplished something. And I think that's an important thing as well. I'm happy to, Diego, in regards to your comments regarding EO 203, we are still waiting. I spoke with the governor's office today. I spoke with the Senate today. We are still waiting for those regulations to be promulgated. I understand other communities are formulating and meeting, but as we've stated before, and the town board as a whole signed a letter dated July 27th. We sent it to the governor, again, recognizing the fact that we are a DCJS accredited agency, and frankly, making sure that when the regulations are promulgated, that they actually reflect the DCJS accreditation, because that DCJS accreditation really puts Yorktown in a completely different tier, because we are continuously, annually, and then every 3 years audited by New York State itself. And so we are upholding to their standards, and you know, if they're going to reverse their DCJS accreditation, that's a whole different conversation, quite frankly. And so it's a very frustrating situation because, quite frankly, I know that the town board wants to engage in EO 203, but we still don't have the rules of engagement. And rather than blindly jumping into the water here, we still are awaiting an acknowledgement and response from the governor's office. And I'm frankly, again, I spoke with the governor's office today. I'm at the point where I'm fine if the board so chooses to put a resolution on the floor right now, echoing our letter to the governor to give us the promulgation of regulations for EO 203, as well as recognizing the DCJS accreditation and making sure that those regulations that he's going to hand down in accordance with his executive order reflect a clear contrast between accredited and non-accredited police agencies.
I think the other thing, Diego, I'd like you to know, if you're concerned that the town board will not bring you to the table, that should not be of concern for you. You're going to come to the table.
We're looking forward to participation, but we need the rules of engagement. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So we understand what we are, and I understand that what the EO says, and I understand some of the supplemental information that was released, but the promulgated regulations governing how we are supposed to operate these has not been handed down. So again, if the board wants to take it an extra step and entertain a resolution, then I'm happy to do so.
I would like to move forward with a resolution to do that.
I will second it.
Okay. Fine. Then we'll
well, we already sent him a letter.
We already sent him a letter that apparently has gone fun on deaf ears. So let's move forward with the resolution. So we have a first, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know, even if it has fallen on deaf ears, it really still behooves someone up there to write us a letter and tell us that.
They have not. They have not acknowledged. The only reason I can say that I spoke to the governor's office because I picked up the phone today and I called, and I spoke with the Senate, and I said, "Has anyone heard anything?" And not a peep.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is the hoops that the police departments that are accredited have to jump through, and maybe that's not well, to become accredited is not an easy task.
Oh,
it's painstakingly done, and it's monitored, as the supervisor said, on a regular basis. So we need to have some type of guidance from the Senate and or from the governor to tell us that an accredited agency is following E203, or it's not, or what we have to implement. But we can't go into it blindly.
Well, I have to tell you, my biggest concern is that I think someone said that the regulations have to be implemented by April of next year. Is that right?
Correct. There's a whole timeline that they want us to follow, and I've received a proposed timeline. And it's great that they're putting the timelines together, which, yes, end in April. Otherwise, they're withholding state funding, which they've already clawed back from us. But they're not handing down the regs to tell us what we're supposed to actually be accomplishing.
Well, that's my biggest concern. Send down the regulations. What do you want us to do? What should we be looking at?
I agree. And so I hope that answers the question. But again, I also want to echo what Councilwoman Roker said, which is that for anyone who's concerned about not having a seat at the table, there's no concern to be had, because we are looking forward to following through on the executive order. We just need the roadmap to properly move ahead. I do want to just make sure we're clear, though, on that resolution. So I'm just taking a second here. The letter in part states, with 110 standards for law enforcement agencies to meet and exceed, this program provides a clear and concise objective for local and county governments to achieve as part of the accreditation process. Additionally, law enforcement agencies must maintain compliance with all program standards throughout the accreditation period, which includes the submission of the annual compliance survey each year to document areas of compliance. Furthermore, the program, this is again the DCJS accreditation, mandates that agencies notify OPS program staff of any areas of non-compliance that would require corrective action. And so I think we just need to be clear in our resolution that we are once again requesting the governor hand down the required regulations regarding EO 203 so that we may properly follow and adhere to EO 203, and that those regulations recognize the DCJS accreditation program and provide a separate path for DCJS accredited police agencies for compliance for EO 203. Any thoughts on the board?
That's I think that's how we should do the resolution, Matt. That's just, like I say, we just need to do our guide. We have to have our guidance. We wanted to echo the DCJS guidelines in the accreditation.
Okay. Is that Town Clerk Watts? Do you want us to re-motion that to make sure it's clear?
You can if you like.
All right. So I'll make a motion based off of what I just said for the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. In regards to the bike path accident, again on August 23rd, a very tragic accident. I really can't speak towards details because the Westchester County Police have not concluded their investigation or released the findings of their investigation. I think we all can agree that safety enhancements need to be looked at and properly implemented. I would like to see and the bike path itself is interesting, and because the bike path is a county entity that crosses town roads, and to access those town roads, you have to turn off of a state road. So you've got it's a very complicated issue there, just in regards to jurisdiction. And so I think what would be helpful is if we held a round table with local, county, state stakeholders, as well as advocates, as well as our planning department, highway superintendent, and police, to have a comprehensive conversation. I'd like to do that early in October so that we can, again, hopefully we have the report from the Westchester County Police as to what occurred and transpired. And then, of course, safety is our number one priority. Safety for, our cyclists, safety for, I run on that bike path. I train for a marathon on that bike path. So safety for, pedestrians, obviously, and of course, safety for our residents who are driving, because you have a lot of residents who live up and around the bike path. And frankly, I've heard from concerned residents about road safety as well. So I think that we have to have a more comprehensive conversation, but obviously focus on ensuring the proper safety for everyone involved. And it's a little more complicated, I think, and requires greater deliberation from all parties. Any comments?
And it's not only the Yorktown area, because the length of the trail is all the way up from almost from City all to Brewster. So every location, has to be done some kind of sign or warning or, something so people obey the cyclists as well as the motorists both together, you know.
Of course, it's going to be a team effort to tackle this in the right way with our partners in government. I know that Highway Superintendent Paganelli has already reached out to the County Parks Department because the County Parks Department oversees the trail. And
correct. And to Councilman Patel's point, every crossing in Yorktown has a stop sign on both ends before they come to our roads. Whether the cyclists choose to obey those stop signs or not obey them, we have the fortunate or unfortunate scenario that bike path runs through our recycling yard at 2200 Greenwood Street.
Right.
We have put up our own 2 stop signs. There's a 4-way stop there. We've painted stop bars, and countless bicyclists just blow right through the stop signs. And I've had to make sure my trucks stop because there are hills involved and they want to get across it and get their momentum going. So yes, it's a very interesting scenario to provide safe crossing when unfortunately sometimes laws are not adhered to.
You're 100%. You're 100% right, Dave, and that's probably one of the topics we'll be discussing on Friday with our safety board when we meet. That being said, is that we have to do this concurrently so that we do not breed a false sense of security for not only the bicyclists but for the motoring public to think that bicyclists are going to stop, number one, or that cars are going to stop, number two. So
right.
it's a very slippery slope that we have to really tread accurately on so that we can do the right thing.
Right. And my biggest concern is that we end up with a scenario where we paint, and I have no problem painting the crosswalks, but I don't want to give the cyclists or the runners or anyone a false sense of security. It's more, there's not a problem like this on Underhill. There's very little of a problem like this on Hanover. There's a bit of a problem on Revere, and both parties have complained about it, from motor vehicle operators to cyclists. Motor vehicle operators saying the cyclists aren't stopping. And, that being said, this one particular location has sightline visibility, so much so that the county put a fence up there to channel that traffic across so that people couldn't zoom across the road. So I believe the county recognizes there's a problem there, but again, you could put up all the stop signs in the world, and if people don't stop for them, it's,
the speed, because the windy road. I just want to one second. I give you example. When I moved to my house in 1979, on a Thanksgiving night, father and a son both died, and I was the first one to go help. 12 people died, so I 5 years it took me to put the flashing yellow light. The Henry Barnett, the assemblyman, was there, and then still continue accident. People go too fast sometimes, and it's a kind of a road. 12 people died, and then that flashlight, and then after that, it changed the curve, and the second time become the road, and I was a pain in the neck to DEP and DEC, the Department of Transportation, and then I told them I just got elected, and then they said thank you, it's just a very sad, bare old road and turns,
It is, and that is a terrible turn on 118 on 118/35 at Willoway, where you live.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that we've not had any fatalities, considering the number of bicyclists, and many of which now are novices due to the coronavirus and people wanting to get some solitary exercise. I'm grateful that we haven't had more issues, but I agree 100% that, with the supervisor, we need to have a round table and discuss what is the best way to ensure the safety of everyone.
There's so many, as Matt said, there's so many entities involved in this that we really do have to sit down, and everybody's got to have a seat at the table to understand the problem, because there is a problem, and our job is to see what we can do to help fix it.
Exactly. Very good.
Agreed.
And people have the earphone and the music and all these things, and their mind is divided between phone and bicycling and too many things, People have to be a responsible driver and the people to, navigate their trip, and they are always in a hurry,
Any other comments from the board regarding courtesy of the floor?
Thank you.
No? Then we will move on with our agenda. We will be going to the stormwater permit applications. This is a stormwater permit application for 1538 Jacob Road to construct a new single-family residence driveway and utility connections. I think for this, we're going to just refer out.
Yeah.
Diana, what did you?
This was already referred out.
Oh, I apologize.
The town engineer can explain the.
Perfect. Mike, you want to give us an update?
Sure. Good evening, board members. The application 1538 Jacob Road, this is an undeveloped lot. They're proposing a new single-family house. There's a significant amount of excavation required for the foundation, hence it's a town board action. This is a house that will be on town water, town sewer. And we reviewed the application when it first came in early August. We did put together a review memo, which I think the board members have. We had significant comments on this, and we feel like there's a few things that still have to be resolved. And I haven't heard back from the applicant or the engineer at this time. I know it was referred out to other boards. The Conservation Board had no comments, and I believe a communication from the Planning Board says that they're going to consider it at their next meeting. So I think that's next week or the week after.
And the tree committee had concerns that they wrote about as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen that yet, Alice, but that was also one of our comments. Okay. There was no mitigation for the tree removal at this time. So we have to still work with the applicant on that.
I think we should wait for their response to your memo, as well as allow the planning board to examine it on the 14th. So I think we should just table this.
Yeah, I agree. Motion to table.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're moving on to resolutions. We will take them
all at the same time.
Yep, we'll take them all at the same time until we get to the Bridge New York projects. I'm sure Mike wants to brief us on that. So resolutions, escrow deposit release for driveway permit DR 1234 for work done at 1631 Central Street, Yorktown Heights. You authorize the supervisor to execute a collective bargaining agreement with the CSEA for the period January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2024. Authorize the supervisor to execute a collective bargaining agreement with the PBA for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2024. Authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with the LaBerge Group for grant development services in an amount not to exceed $10,500. Advertise to bid for various chemicals for the water pollution control plant, bid number 20-2. I'm going to stop there and take a motion for the above referenced resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carry. Mr. Quinn, do you want to discuss and just provide an overview of the next resolution for the Bridge New York project? This is regarding the Hill Boulevard Bridge replacement and Veterans Road culvert replacement.
Sure. So the bids were opened on this project in June 18th. I think I had come to the board in a work session in July, and I went through the bid results. There were 9 bidders. The low bidder was at $2,995,000. So we've gone through the bids, worked with Dave Paganelli and WSP, going through the project. We also worked with the DOT to get their sign off on a potential award. So there's actually 2 different grants that the town is receiving. The grant for Veterans Road was $820,000, no match from the town, and the grant from for the Hill Boulevard project was $2.6 million, and that required $130,000 from the town. So 2.47 funded by the state on that project. So when we looked at we bid as one project. So when we looked at how much was bid on each project, because we have to track the cost separately, we are a little bit short in order to make this award using strictly state funding. So this resolution that I prepared does include additional town monies to make up the shortfall. $45,000 for the Hill Boulevard project, $218,000 for the Veterans Road project.
How much?
218 for veterans?
Yes.
So essentially, we're going to be spending 250,000 and getting 2.9, right, Mike? Roughly.
Yeah, roughly $3 million roughly worth of construction for that number, correct?
And there's also a time frame, I believe we're working under, right, Mike?
Right. So this is, we have to meet their program deadlines. We're looking to do, an award in the month of September. And this project has a 9-month duration. And one of the things I was talking to the supervisor about was, doing a little public presentation at a work session in the next couple of weeks, because both of these projects will be full road closures. So, we've already, in the design side, we work with the public safety, we work with the schools on the traffic management plan. But I think since it's been a while since we worked out all those details, it might be worthwhile to bring that back to the public, so everyone is very clear about the dates and the type of workarounds that will be required for this project.
May I ask a question? And again, it's really more procedural and policy. When the board approves doing a project, do you work with the comptroller to set aside the amount of money that the town is going to have to pay based on whatever our contribution is?
Yes.
But it was delayed for quite a bit.
Wait, I didn't finish.
No. Okay.
So our contribution to both of these projects were not enough to pay for the first phase of it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think originally the town, if you put the two projects together, 2.6 and 800,000 is 3.4 million.
Okay.
I believe that the controller originally put aside 3.4 million.
Okay.
Now the total project cost will be in the order of 3.6 million because the bids came in slightly higher than our original grant estimate. So, we don't have the ability to go back to the state to say, hey, we need a bigger grant. So we're stuck with what they gave us. So yes, I did work with the controller to make up that difference.
Okay, now I hear what you're saying. The problem was the bids were higher. You've got a contingency in your bids.
There is like an extra work allowance in the bids. So basically, the bids, there was actually 16 pages of bid items, right? So it's not a one lump sum, how much do you want for the whole job? Okay. Everything, according to the state guidelines, everything is on a unit price. So we pay by the cubic yard, the foot of pipe, on and on with all the different line items. There's hundreds of different line items. There is a line item for extra work. Just trying to see how much we included for that. It's usually around 5% of the total contract amount, so it's a substantial amount of money. Let me see if I can find it.
So basically, we pay this so we don't do the projects. Correct?
Yes, we could not make an award without that. Correct.
Okay.
And again, the other issue, Mr. Quinn, is that the grant expires. Correct? That's what you were telling me.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. But the grant does expire it's December of 2021.
We have to have the project.
That's our end date for the signed agreement that we have. And I just found we have $120,000 to do extra work in this contract. In theory, if we didn't have to do any extra work, we don't spend that money.
Right. But we never know if we will, because you don't know.
Mike, there was
Right,
some
we
issue.
won't be sure until we do the work.
Mike, you decided that you give the same contract for, the same contract to the both project, and in order to do that, you were able to do this project with the less cost or something. Remember, I'm really not sure what was happening at that time. You
Right,
coordinate. Most project will be done with the same contractor, so there will be some savings.
That's correct. That's why we put both projects together, to get some cost efficiencies. There's a very large contractor out of Yonkers Transit is the one that's the low bidder.
Okay.
I don't think we have a choice, and we need to do the projects.
Right.
Basically, we're looking to do the projects. It's about, it's less than 10% of the total project is what the town has to put forth, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Just under 10%.
Just under 10%.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. Paganelli, sure.
Okay. I believe we received these grants 3 years ago, and it was a difficult to go out to bid. There was an acquisition. There was some taking.
That's right. You're right.
If I'm not incorrect.
Right.
So actually, the original bid at the $3.4 million, if you say, well, 3 years ago, that would have been a realistic figure, but let's assume a 3% annual, cost of living increase, another 9% of $3 million would be another $270,000. So theoretically, we're still well within the realm of where we anticipated being 3 years ago, had we not had to delay for various reasons.
Okay. You want to take it?
Everyone, any other questions for either Mr. Quinn or even Mr. Paganelli? Otherwise, we'll make a motion.
So moved.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I'm sorry, any opposed? None, motion carries.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
So we'll continue with the rest. We'll take them all at once. Authorize the comptroller to release bond number E-022-10 in the amount of $300 for work done on 1346 Hayes Drive. Authorize the comptroller to release bond number BSWPPP-048-19 in the amount of $500 for work done at 1455 Hiawatha Road. Authorize comptroller to release bond BSWPPP 007, I had to say that, -18 and BSWPPP -022-17 in the amount of $500 for work done at 1145 and 1155 Baldwin Road. Authorize the comptroller to release bond for work done, for the amount of $250 for work done at 1946 Glenrock Street, and authorize the comptroller to refund an overpayment to water bill account number 200546-0 in the amount of $201.47. Motion.
Just a question on one. I know that I had gotten several phone calls on Hiawatha. As long as the highway superintendent is still here, have they complied with all the driveway permits and all that kind of stuff? And the engineer also has that particular project, are they in compliance? Because I had gotten, like I say, a couple calls on that myself, that particular project.
Councilman, was that Hiawatha or was that the one on Delaware?
No, sorry, Delaware. My mistake.
That's
Delaware.
Okay. No,
Delaware.
we do have issues at Delaware as well, but yeah,
Okay.
I believe that's where we had the problem.
Yes, Delaware and Hiawatha. I actually did get a couple on Hiawatha, and I drove by there and I didn't see anything that was wrong, but I just want to make sure that
I think we're okay there.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I was going to just add to that our inspector went out. That was for construction of a new house, and our inspector was out there about 10 days ago and certified all the grass is back in place and that we could return the bond that was taken.
Motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. If no other business before the board. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And happy Labor Day to everybody. Rest well.
Very happy Labor Day to all. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a
Happy
great
Labor Day, all.
Happy Labor Day. Be safe.
And Easter Day.